These are the plaintiffs, Brianna Schuff and Chanel Mims. Brianna says they were hired to dance at the defendant's halftime show during a basketball game. Now they're being stiffed. That's right, they danced their butts off. They deserve to be paid and are suing the ungrateful double-crossing defendant for the $150 they're owed. This is the defendant, Mink a Million. She says she's a rapper, and she sent out an email blast looking for volunteer dancers to perform with her at a basketball halftime show. There was never any mention of any type of payment. This was for their own publicity, and she owes them zip. She's accused of dancing into court.
All parties, please raise your right hands. People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Leal is now presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Schuff and Ms. Mims, talk to me. Who wants to tell me first? Ms. Schuff, why don't we start with you? How was it that you met the defendant, Ms. Emilion?
So basically, me and Chanel, we were dancers for a choreographer we know named Beast Mode, and she hired us for an event, and one of her events was a showcase, and one of the performers was Eli, and he is a friend of Miss Mink a Million, and he told me in a group chat that Mink was currently looking for paid dancers for a paid opportunity. He stressed that twice.
Do you have the group chat? Can you show me that group chat?
Yes.
So that didn't come from her. That came from someone that you both know.
Yes. I actually marked it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So which one is it?
Number 1. Here it is.
I have a paid gig opportunity for whoever is available. It's next week. One of my artist friends is doing the halftime show at a basketball game and needs dancers. She is willing to pay. Okay. So you reach out to her, and I guess somebody arranges for the two of you to go and audition or whatever, correct?
And number 2, the evidence number 2, it's when I hit her up and asked her if she was willing to, have me as her dancer. And she said yes. And she asked me if I had a friend that I was comfortable dancing with, which I did, which is Chanel.
Hey, love, heard you were looking for dancers next week. I'm fully available. Perfect. Can you send over your contact? Yes, ma'am. And then you send your contact. That's it.
Yes, ma'am.
There's no discussion about payment in there.
No, we never discussed the payment.
So let's talk about that now. Ms. Mims, the two of you go to meet her and to dance for her and kind of show her what you got, right?
Yes.
All right. So how far, Ms. Mims, did you guys have to travel to go and meet her?
Probably about 30, 45 minutes.
Okay. And then what happens at the audition?
It wasn't really an audition. Well, first of all, we also thought that we were coming to dance. There was not really much communication, which was the main problem. We thought we were coming to just be dancers, so she then told us that we had to choreograph. So we started making up a dance for her, and we kept
Wait, I'm sorry, I don't understand.
her.
What did you think you were going to do? You were just going to be dancers doing what if you didn't choreograph?
Well, usually they, whenever people say we need
There's a
dancers,
difference.
there's a choreographer, which is someone who creates the dance.
Oh, I gotcha.
And
I
then
gotcha.
There's
I
somebody
gotcha.
who...
So you just learn the
just like
dance. And I got you.
Yes. So
And
it just wasn't enough communication to specify exactly what we were doing.
Okay.
We
so
just would have liked
you guys
more
show up.
preparation.
Sure, but that comes with questions too, right? So you guys go and you meet her, and then does she ask you to dance so she can see if she's going to want you? And
Exactly.
Yeah, she asked us
Exactly
to
what I
start
did.
making
I asked
the
for
dance.
them to show me what they got.
okay. And so somebody videoed that. I guess that was you, Miss Emilion, who videoed it?
Yes. That was my assistant.
All right, let's-
videoed it.
Okay. And now, what was it you needed dancers for, Ms. Emilion?
I have some performance. I was performing at a basketball game, like a adult D-League series or whatever. I was performing there and needed dancers. When they initially entered the room, I asked them to show me what they had, like basically just show me what you all could do so I can see your skills or what you were capable of doing, and if there was something I wanted to move forward with.
Okay.
Again, there was no...
There was no what?
There was no communication or conversation about a payment, any deposit, anything of that nature. I was under the impression that they were
you did see how your friend said
I did,
it's a
but
paid gig, she's willing to
again,
pay.
they should have addressed me. They should have still clarified that with me
Absolutely.
instead of third party.
And they
I do
later
see that.
asked
I
about
wasn't aware of
payment,
that.
and we'll talk about that. Right. That's what I wanted to know, whether you were aware that your friend had sent that.
No, I wasn't aware exactly what
Okay.
he said. Only thing I knew is that he just sent a blast for anyone that was available for that following week.
All right. So.
Exhausted. I'm exhausted.
Okay, so you end up, you meet them, they leave, and then there's some discussion by text. And according to you, Ms. Emilian, what is the discussion by text?
The discussion by text, well, initially, my assistant had the phone at the time, so the messages that were sent, I was unaware clearly of what was said, but I thought it was just send the video. They asked for the footage of the rehearsal, so that was sent over there. And then I think in the end of it, it mentioned something along the lines about payment. From my experience, when there's payment, that's something that is addressed prior to any meet and greets, prior to any initial agreements to do any type of work or, contributes to anything. First thing should be taken care of.
Well, let me ask you this. On
first.
February 18th, I see a text where she says, did you like what we came up with or no? Can I ask you a question? When was the performance?
The 19th or the 20th? Hold on, I got to look at the
It was the 20th.
Okay, and when was it you guys met?
It was the 20th. I want to say it was the 17th.
We met the 18th.
Now it's actually, so you met the 17th and the performance was the 20th, because I'm looking at, I see a post. Let me
I was
actually,
just trying
I'm
to
going to
pull it
press
back up.
play. I want to. So they text you and they say to you, or Chanel says to you, did you like what we came up with or no? And there's a thumbs up. And you say, yes, love, my apologies. What were you guys thinking?
As far as their choreographed about what they had came up with.
Okay. And then Chanel says, maybe 150, 200, it's up to you. Name your price. And then you do not respond. And on Friday,
when she DM'd me, the phone was out of whack.
Okay, so on Friday, someone, I'm not sure who responds. So I'm assuming no rehearsals today. Are we Brianna,
that was
I'm
them.
assuming no rehearsals today. Are we working on it on our own or not continuing? And you still don't respond. And then on Sunday at 12 o'clock, I guess they're a little miffed that there was no response. Good afternoon, Mink. So it's apparent you didn't want to use our services, which is fine. But we still drove out of our way and took 2 hours of our time choreographing a routine you could have just said you didn't want, but instead we spent our gas and time to come work on your performance, and I feel as if we're being disrespected because we have asked you multiple times about reimbursement, and you keep saying you're going to, but we still haven't even gotten a call or a text back from you. I texted and emailed our invoice to you. It's a 6-day period. To send the payment, we'd really appreciate it if you got it to us as soon as possible.
That was all after she didn't respond
and you
to
respond,
anything.
hey, definitely, right, wasn't an issue with y'all performing. Other things came up on my end. Some things got handled very unprofessional, but that's neither here nor there. I most definitely didn't get your text due to the fact that I've been working off my other phone. The one you have is damaged beyond repair, waiting for replacement. What email did you send it to? The one in your bio. And then you respond, for your information, there was never any payment discussed from the beginning. You guys never mentioned anything about a payment. I was under the impression you were doing it for exposure, but you see now where they got the idea about payment. Things like that should definitely be discussed up front. Now, gas reimbursement, that's one thing, but you girls never said anything about payment. Had that been a conversation, that would have been totally fine. Things definitely could have been handled differently, but hey, we will do it your way. When we asked you about payment, you said it's up to us right here.
Yeah, that wasn't what I was responding to. I was responding to her asking, did I like their performance? And what did I want them to do? And I said that's up to them.
It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter because here's what happened. You named your price finally and then said, or you can decide, let's discuss. And then she decides not to use you. That's called not arriving at a contract. I realize you felt disrespected and I understand why, but you didn't have a definitive contract, and you didn't have a definitive fee. Go ahead.
I did send
you
her
sent her an invoice. That's after the fact.
With-
No, that's after the fact. The key is that you were promised money in return for doing something. You did something, and now you want your money. But instead, what you have is some third party saying, hey, she's definitely willing to pay. You showing up, and I guess we could call it an audition. And then she ends up deciding that it's not worth it to her or whatever. But you didn't have a contract with her, because you never arrived. A contract is where you and she have a clear meeting of the minds on what it is you're giving up and what it is she's giving up. You're giving up your time and talent, and she's giving up $150 or $200, and everybody agrees on it. But that didn't happen. What happened is she says, no, you guys are great. What were you thinking? 150 or 200. And then she just doesn't hire you. Whether it's her phone was broken or she didn't like your dancing or whatever it is, it really doesn't matter, because she ended up not hiring you. And then after the fact, you're like, well, I want to be paid gas and I want to be paid for my time because this was confusing. Yes, this was confusing. So what needs to happen in the future is that you're supposed to get the details. And if you want to get paid to audition, you better make it clear and get, paid to audition. Now, my understanding is you have a witness, but what is this witness here to testify to?
Basically, that everything that transpired amongst us, that there was no contract, there was no agreement or discussion about any type of payment. He's my personal assistant. He's my personal assistant.
Oh,
so
okay.
He typically handles everything.
All right. What's your name?
Keith.
Okay. Keith, raise your right hand. Douglas, can you please swear him in?
Absolutely. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Keith, you were present. Do you have a relationship aside from being her assistant with her, or no?
No, I'm just her personal assistant, so I pretty much.
Okay, so on the night that the ladies auditioned, did you ever hear Ms. Amilian promising them to be paid or paid a certain amount, or them asking to be paid, or anything like that?
No, ma'am. It was never no money addressed.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Based on what I am hearing, I don't think there was ever an agreement to pay you $100 for your dance services and gas, much less a $50 late fee for the $100, 50% late fee, for the $100 not being paid. So in this case, I am finding in favor of Miss Amilian. Good luck, folks.
Oh, wow.
Thank you. Handle
That's
business first,
so
ladies.
funny.
I wouldn't have had a problem with it.
Well, the plaintiffs, I think, are kind of surprised there. They lost the case. Let's see what they're thinking about it. Ms. Shuff, Ms. Mims, what's your reaction?
Well, I honestly kind of feel like personally she should have handled it as a woman and as a person who is a business-oriented a woman, and should have paid us the money that she morally knew she owed us.
The judge said you did not have a contract. You didn't have a deal. She never hired you, and that's your problem. You weren't hired for the gig. So you learn the hard way, Next time you'll do better.
We were told to come back, so we were hired because she wanted us back the next day. And she wanted us for the event.
Well, I don't know about that. She may disagree with you. Let's see what she says. All right, Ms. Amilian, you really won the lawsuit. The plaintiffs failed in their attempt to force you to pay the money, but they think you hired them. How do you feel that's right? Are they right or not?
Now, I can totally understand where they're coming from, but being in this business, clarity is everything. You can't just go off of assumptions and just assume that things are going to play out the way you assume it. In this business, you should always address your money up front. Period, point blank. Don't go off of no one else's word. Don't go off of no assumptions of anyone being a woman of good integrity. You don't know anyone from Adam's apple.
Well, that's good advice to them. I'm sure they've learned something, and obviously you know what you're doing. So good enough. You won. You won the case. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Okay, Doug, so, this is an interesting situation because it's very loosey-goosey, where the plaintiffs think they're going to get paid and there's kind of talk about them getting paid, but it never really materializes in concrete form. And that is critical in a situation where you're trying to enforce a contract, because there is no contract here. There's no meeting of the minds because they didn't get specific on the fact that the plaintiffs were entitled to money, how much money, and all that. Getting it in writing is key. But even if they didn't get it in writing, there had to be some kind of an agreement orally that they made, and that couldn't be proved either. So when you make a contract, and especially when you expect to get paid, I would put it in writing, and I would put the material terms down and make sure the other side acknowledges it.
The question is, does Judge John speak Spanish?
Claro que sí. Como si fuera hispano de nacimiento.
Yes.
Espero.
That's how I used to say, como un gringo platanado, like a plantained American gringo. So, yes, I found him that way, actually.
You probably wouldn't have given me the time of day if I didn't.
No, that's not true. I would have given you the time of day anyway. But when, on the night that we met, I just, all of a sudden, you started speaking in Spanish to another fellow who was a friend of mine.
That was Paul.
Paul, and it was just so cute. It was like, you know,
right.
Yeah, I was stunned. I was like, that one's mine, you know.
And now with my mother-in-law speaking mostly Spanish, when we see her every Thursday, we have what we call Jueves Social. We go to her house,
Thursday. We have lunch at her house.
Lunch, we play dominoes, and she speaks Spanish.
Yeah, exclusively, and a lot.